Welcome to this episode of Miles Ahead, and you join me here inside a Kia EV6. We're going to pop outside, have a look at the outside, we'll come back inside, I'll show you the interior functionality of this car, and we'll take it out for a drive as well to see what it is like. We'll start with some facts and figures though. This is the Kia EV6 GT Line S all-wheel drive, and it retails at £55,195. Now, one thing that Kia do fabulously, as similarly Hyundai did with the Ioniq 5 that we reviewed, that is your all-in price. So everything in this car comes as standard. The GT Line S is the top spec GT line. You can also get the Air, which is a basic model, which starts at £44,000. You get the GT line, and then you get GT Line S. This being the all-wheel drive, has a bit more poke. So it's fitted with a 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery that kicks out 321 brake horsepower and 605 newton meters of torque, which means 0 to 60 is ticked off in a rather brisk 5.2 seconds. We'll touch upon that a bit more in the drive along. But let's get started and have a look at the outside. And here it is, the Kia EV6, finished in this rather fetching red paintwork. I think they've done a really good job in the design of this. Looks traditional enough, yet futuristic enough to sort of fit the EV mould. You get these rather fantastic LED headlights. They do a really fantastic job at night. As we come around the side, this being the GT Line S version, does come with 20-inch wheels. I think 18s and 19s are available at the lower end of the spectrum. One thing to notice, a really short distance between the nose and the wheels here. That does create a bit more space in the cabin, which is good. You know, obviously no need to put an engine up top there. There is a bit of storage space in there as well. If we unlock it, just see the way the door handles present themselves there, so they're sort of in the left-handed configuration there. We'll come back to the cabin in a minute. As we come around to the rear, so we get the privacy glass as standard, and we'll just have a quick look in here actually. Yeah, because it's a really comfortable environment to be in actually. So you get these nice suede seats. You also get the through loading, so very easy to drop the seats down, get through into the boot there. You've got ISOFIX, a couple of charging points, but you get a nice low floor line here, so you can actually get three adults in the back here quite comfortably. Just have a look through to the driver's view there, because I think it's a really quite nice driver focused cabin, that. But yeah, we'll touch on that a bit more in a moment's time. The charging port for the car is at the back here. If we press that in there, so yeah, all the cables, you plug it in there and everything else, and the cables are kept in the boot, which we'll have a look at in a second. But I really like this light bar that comes across the back here. I think it looks really good. Yeah, quite futuristic. It stands out in a positive way as well actually, this car, but without being too garish in my opinion. Got charging cables here. I don't know, it does fit in this bag. I don't know how those people do it. I mean, you must go to Scouts and get all your knot badges and all that sort of stuff. So you get 490 litre boots. There's plenty of space in there. It is split level, so you can get a few more bits and pieces in there as well. You get the retractable cover here as well. You can take that out. I've got a bike in here pretty easily, so easy to drop the seats. That's something you can do from here as well. So yeah, very easy to do all that. And you get the hands-free tailgate as well. And we'll just come around the side here to complete the look. One detailing to note on the lights, you get this nice 3D effect here. I do really like this light bar across the back. I think that's yeah, it's pretty stylish, looks pretty good. I think the privacy glass suits the car as well, and I do like those wheels as well, I must say. Yeah, all in, I do think this is quite a handsome car. It's certainly one that you notice when you see it out and about on the road. But it being a Kia, it being fully loaded, the real value is to be derived inside. And this is the view from the driver's seat of the Kia EV6. Like I mentioned, I think it's a really nice driver-focused environment. You've got a nice array of controls down here, from wireless mobile charging. Here's your drive selector here, start button. We'll fire it up now, actually. So it's 12.3-inch curved screen across here, which is, yeah, really quite easy to use, actually. Just comes fully loaded, this car. I really like it. So we come down here, got ventilated seats, heated seats, and heated steering wheel. So you get ventilation heated on the passenger side as well, and you get heated seats in the rear. Now these seats are finished in suede, then with some vegan leather across here, so a bit of a contrast there between cow and synthetic, but there we go. And you get these headrests as well. One minor complaint with these headrests actually is because they've got these bits that protrude out the side. It does just swallow up a bit of your blind spot when you're checking. You do get a blind spot monitor come up on the wing mirrors there, but yeah, they're just quite chunky, so it just makes turning around and seeing your blind spot a little bit tricky at times. But yeah, I don't know, but a minor complaint, I guess. Plenty of functionality on the steering wheel as well. It's got things like cruise control, adjusting speed, distance from the car in front. One button that you're going to want to press quite a lot, actually. If you hold this down, look at the steering function up there, it just turns the lane keep assist off. I'd say that's a bit of a weakness in the driving experience. It just beeps and rumbles the steering wheel a bit. It doesn't really do a great deal, and it's incredibly annoying because it starts beeping as soon as you come within like 2 centimeters of the line. It's just a little bit irritating. But other good features on the steering wheel, so you've got the drive mode select here. So this is worth keeping handy. Just a couple of times, so when you have it in eco there, the throttle response is quite muted, so you might just go for a quick gap when you're sort of pulling out in town, and it doesn't really go forward with too much urgency, so you want it in normal or sport for that. And you can see that affects the range down here as well, depending on what mode you have it in. Normally get up and running and stick it in eco. Yeah, very easy, very comfortable to use. You can open the charge port and boot and all that sort of stuff down here as well, and yeah, all your windows and usual gubbins there. Another thing, you get the ambient lighting, so I think it's 64 colours you can choose from there. I've got it in a sort of bluey purple at the moment, so really nice environment to be in at night. And you also get this 14 speaker Meridian surround sound system as well, and I have to say that's really quite good actually. I do quite like that. Another feature as well, get the panoramic roof here. It is raining at the moment, otherwise I would open that up. That does open up there as a sunroof, so yeah, another nice feature to have in warmer weather. Loads of storage space in here, so there's a glove box. I mean, I can't even reach the back of it from there, so loads of space there. The door bins perhaps a bit smaller, but you'd get a larger bottle in there. But as we come across here, so we've got USB-C and USB chargers, but there's a big storage compartment underneath there, so you can get loads of bits and pieces in there. And then we come up here, a couple of cup holders, another storage bit there, and there's another deep bin in there for all your bits and pieces. So yeah, plenty of storage space and practicality. One other cool feature actually of the infotainment, so I've got this here at the moment to select between, you know, map and media and all that sort of business, and then that'll do the volume. If I press this button here, it changes to be the HVAC, which is really good. So yeah, if you just need to quickly adjust the temperature on either side, press that, and then you can go back to radio and settings and all that sort of thing. Just have a quick look at the screen to wrap this up. Yeah, very usable. Not too laggy actually. I think it's slightly better than the one in the high-end Ioniq 5. It's a little bit easier to reach for starters because the screen does curve towards you. Like the high-end Ioniq 5 though, it doesn't have wireless Apple Auto or Android CarPlay, whatever those things are called. So you have to plug those in down there. But you know, it supports Bluetooth audio and all that sort of thing. And finally, there is a head-up display. I've turned that off because it did make me feel a bit sick actually, as it did with the high-end Ioniq 5. Other cars we've reviewed recently, the BMW i4 M50, I loved the head-up display in that. I don't know, it's just something about these ones that, you know, hasn't sat right with me. But very easy, just dive into the menus, turn it off, and away you go. So yeah, all in all, yeah, really comfortable, nice environment to be in, just comes fully loaded. So yeah, that's a huge tick in the box for Kia, as it was for Hyundai. But anyway, let's take it out on the road, see what it's like, and give it a comparison to a couple of other cars as well. So, what's the Kia EV6 like to drive? Well, as we mentioned, it does 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. We're in sport mode. Oh, you do get that instant hit of torque like you do with all EVs that, yeah, just throws you back in your seat and is, you know, it's impressive. It's impressive. But I wouldn't say that is this car's raison d'etre. It doesn't ever feel like it's there to be a race car or a track day weapon or anything like that. It's very much a family SUV. And I'd say the biggest selling point of this car, as it was with the Hyundai Ioniq 5, with which this shares many underpinnings, a lot of the buttons in the infotainment system, etc., are similar, is just get that all in one price. There's no messing around with the options list. As we mentioned, this being the GT Line S, it is the top spec, so it comes fully loaded, and it's just that price is £55,000. That's what you pay, and everything comes as standard with it, and it just doesn't disappoint. It's just a really competent car. Now the flip side of that is it doesn't necessarily stand out in any ways. It doesn't provide you with hugely memorable driving experiences, thrills and spills and all that sort of thing. But then it's not really intended to, I guess. It's just a very amenable car. It's very easy to get on with, incredibly easy to use. All the functionality is laid out superbly in here, and they thought about everything, like the driving position, everything else is just really good. All the buttons that you want are here, and you know, the touchscreen on here to change between infotainment and HVAC and all that sort of stuff. It's just all really well thought out. And I think it's a good looking car on the outside as well, and that matters as well. but it's just, yeah, very easy car to get on with, a very easy car to drive. Now I did mention that we compare it to a couple of others. So the last car we reviewed was the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Now I'd say the main weakness with that was that it didn't have that many options on it. It was £61,000 compared to this at 55, and yeah, it just didn't have all that many options fitted to it. So this is £6,000 cheaper and comes fully loaded. You get things like the panoramic roof, the ventilated seats, the 360 parking camera, the upgraded stereo, hands-free boot. All of that just comes as standard in here. You'd have to get the tech pack in the Mustang, which would take the price up to 65. Is it worth £10,000 more than this? No, it's not. I mean, that's the simple answer. Mustang, arguably a better driving experience, but not by £10,000. Had a more playful tail end, steering was a bit better, just more communicative with the road. But I mean, are you buying a family SUV for driver feedback and the tail end slipping out at roundabouts and that sort of thing? I'd argue you're probably not. I mean, you're never going to take this on a track day, are you? I mean, obviously not. It weighs over 2 tons, and there's no hiding that when you get into bends and down country roads and that sort of thing. Just not what this car is all about. What it's about is just fitting in seamlessly with that family lifestyle. Loads of space in here, got your ISOFIX, loads of storage, all that sort of thing. You get a decent range out of it. I've done 180 miles, I've achieved 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. I have had it in sport quite a lot, so that has affected it. Did a commute in it, got 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, so that's nudging your range up to around 270 miles. So that's achievable. You know, yeah, if you are knocking it into sport, or if you're doing longer motorway runs, now by motorway runs, you know, if you do sort of push on a little bit, you are going to lose quite a bit of range, so you're going to have to stop more frequently. But that's the same with all EVs, so that's nothing new. Just really like the usability of this car. Very nice to drive, very smooth driving experience. It's great over speed bumps and potholes and that sort of thing. It's very quiet. I just love the functionality that it's got in here. It's just, everything's really well thought out, like I said. All the buttons here within easy reach, just very easy car to use. Yeah, whilst it doesn't necessarily stand out in any way, it would just, if you're buying this for family use, you just want a car that blends in the background, this does it. It's just so unfussy from options list to driving experience. Yeah, there's nothing to criticise, but yeah, like I said, the flip side of that is nothing, you know, overtly amazing about it either, but it's nice having that bit of grunt as well to get off the line. That 0 to 60 time is quite handy if you just need to make gaps and that sort of thing, but then you just cycle back round to eco. All the driving buttons are on the steering wheel. I mean, that was another weakness with the Ford Mustang Mach-E, actually, is it didn't have all that functionality up top of the wheel. You had to dive into the menus on the big screen to change the driving modes, which was a bit of a shame. Yeah, I mean, the driving mode's quite succinct in this as well, so I've got it in sport at the moment. You stamp on it and it throws everything back. If I just put that back through to eco, ease off again, and then accelerate. So I'll stamp on it now, and it's just much slower with that initial pickup, but that's good because it means you've got 3 succinct driving modes to eco, normal and sport. But yeah, I should probably stop rambling on now. If you're just looking for that sort of family EV SUV type thing, practical, good looking, really easy to use, that everyone's just going to get on with, then yeah, there's so much to commend these cars with. I think Kia have done a really good job, as I felt that Hyundai had done with the Ioniq 5. So I guess I will try and make a decision between those two cars now. It's very difficult because there is a lot of similarity between them. I think I would give it to the Ioniq 5 just on looks. I preferred the way that looked, that sort of moon buggy styling. I think this will probably look better in 5 years time though than that did. I think that's the Ioniq 5 is outlandish in the here and now, whereas I think this will look better going forward. But I mean, that is all there is to choose between them, really, is just the aesthetics, the driving experience in both. They're both really well thought out cars, and most crucially really well priced cars as well, that will just fit into family life very, very easily. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and please also consider subscribing. We've got loads of videos on the channel. We've just finished a run of EVs, but up next, moving back to the old school, we've got Lexus LC 500 convertible, so from battery to naturally aspirated V8, so looking forward to that. And the other ones we've got booked in at the moment are the Lamborghini Huracan and the new BMW M3. So please hit subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thanks.